racing for the lead. Kyle Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. coming down the backstretch to turn 3.
I think you'll just see him. He just gets in there a little too hard, and of course Junior's not cutting him any slack. He's keeping him pinned down, but can't run over the man. That was just unfortunate. I feel sorry for Dale Jr.
This was going down the back straightaway. They're neck and neck halfway down the back stretch.
And you see Junior kind of roll out, but the 18 just gets up the hill a little too much and gets into him, and it turns him around. I hate that.
Well,
golly gee.
Junior was turning down. Kyle Busch pushed up.
Yep.
And there just wasn't enough racetrack between them.
I think.
Ooh.
He's just there, and there's nothing, you know, it's just not, it doesn't work.
You know what, Darrell, what I did not like what I saw the wheels on the 18 car turn to the right just ever so slightly.
Well, I think I think it's because he got loose.
Loose.
He was loose getting in under Dale Jr. over there. I think that's what you saw.
Well, the fellow who had the best view was Clint Boyer, and he'll share it with us.
It'll be a real good view for him coming off turn 4.
And you know, Kyle Busch is going to say that Junior cut down on him, didn't give him enough room. There's Junior pedaling it right there. That's how Kyle got alongside of him.
Dale Jr. has come to pit road.
Oh boy.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. will get these 4 fresh tires. He's still on the lead lap. We have 16 cars on the lead lap, and we're pretty much will have a 2-lap shootout when we get the green flag.
There will be no free pass. We're inside of 10 laps to go.
So now you're Kyle Busch, and now you got somebody else in front of you. And I think he's probably a little bit better than Boyer.
And just remember, Clint Boyer started this race back in the 31st position. We've had 103 races here. Only 8 times has the winner started outside the top 20. Talking about Clint Boyer.
Mark Martin sitting back here, and look, Tony Stewart has gotten himself into the picture. Tony's up to 4th.
And Kevin Harvick is still the first car with the fresh tires in 6th place. Now, we've run a few laps. Is that still a factor?
Well, I think it is, but I don't think there's enough laps now. And besides, he didn't make very much progress with those new tires.
And Dale Jr. will restart 16th after being just 4 laps perhaps from victory lane.
I'm not sure how much security they have here at Richmond, but they better be calling more.
I don't know about you, Larry, but I'm staying up here for a while.
This is a sport of passion. Passion for your driver and for the driver you most want to see your driver beat.
But it was the topic at the top of our show. It's Saturday night short track racing under the lights, and this is what we have.
When you get down to 10 to go, you get inside that window, man. You take both gloves off.
Last night was not without controversy. Kyle Busch was at the center of it. Stephen Wallace bumped him out of the way. He bumped Stephen, and Stephen rammed him in turn 1. And when Kyle went to talk to Stephen about it, Stephen grabs his helmet, and Kyle says, "Come on, you want some of me?" But the unprofessional action was that of Wallace last evening post-race when he rammed Busch down in turn number 1. Up till that point, it was just racing.
Yeah. Right now, I'm trying to figure out an escape plan myself.
You know those black helicopters you're always seeing? You want one?
I'm not worried about me. I'm worried about it. I'm worried about the guy driving the 18 car. How's he going to get out of here?
But but one thing about it, Mike, you're right, is the more caution laps they run, the cooler the tires are getting on those cars that have the older hot tires on them.
You know, Darrell, we've had a lot of drivers in this sport who've wanted to win badly and who've made ill-timed moves late in the race. And one of the biggest of them was Dale Earnhardt when he turned Terry Labonte around at Bristol. The fans didn't like it, but Earnhardt went on to become one of the biggest names in the sport. He was already. Didn't hurt much of his fan base, and you know, Kyle Busch has his detractors and his fans.
No,
and we'll see what happens here.
It wasn't a cheap shot.
No.
I mean, they did race off into the corner side by side, and so I can't say the man gave him a cheap shot. He was just trying too hard.
there was no give and take, and you're not going to have any give and take on a short track with less than 10 laps
I'm pretty sure when he got underneath Dale Jr. off turn 2, Dale Jr. said, uh-oh, I might be in trouble here. Didn't know about that much trouble, but I think he probably knew he was in trouble, because he probably knew that if he didn't hit him, he was going to run him up the hill to the point to where Kyle would have gotten back by him.
So Dale Jr. will get a finish outside the top 10. Clint Bowyer is the biggest beneficiary of this caution. He comes out of it with the lead. If you're Kyle Busch and you got to shake off this incident, what have you got to do to get up on the wheel with 2 laps to go and still try and win this race?
I'm still going to try to win this race.
All right.
I mean, you got to, and I think he's that kind of driver. I don't think he lets things like that affect him.
No, sir.
I think that's a racing incident in his mind, and I'm going after the win if it's got to do the same thing to this cat, if it should turn out that way. I got to tell you, his intention was not to wreck Dale Jr. His intention was to pass Dale Jr., and they got together.
And if you're going to pass Dale Jr. the way Jr.'s running, you've got to get into the corner before Jr. does, and that's what he was trying to do. You see the wheel mark on the side. Here's one more look.
I mean, here he is. He's underneath of him, and Jr. knows right here, uh-oh, I think I got my hands full now, because it's a drag race into the 3rd turn. They're side by side. Kyle gets a little bit loose getting in there. See how he gets loose and he starts washing up, and Junior's right on him. There's no room, and he gets into him.
That replay there, I think, showed how loose Kyle Busch got.
He just got in there and got on the brakes really hard. It kind of reminds me of what happened to him at Martinsville when he wheel hopped into turn 3 under Johnny Benson.
The minute he turned that wheel, that car got loose.
He's about to spin out right there. And Junior just happened to be the one that caught him.
And Larry, where you saw Kyle Busch's wheels turn to the right was where he was trying to straighten up his race car.
That last replay showed it.
Yeah.
That's the only hope he had from spinning that car out, is get that thing turned back.
Right.
And we know he has a ton of car control.
Yeah, it was not to try to turn that car up into Dale Jr.
Not at all.
He was trying to save it. Jeff, you've had a chance to look at all these replays. What do you think?
Well, it's like this, Mike. It's real simple, and we've seen it. I was outside. I saw all the Dale Earnhardt Jr. fans standing up cheering him on, and it's going to be hard for them to understand that. They haven't had the privilege of hearing all this explanation that you guys have done. So I like DW is saying, I wouldn't want to be Kyle Busch right now trying to get out of Richmond, because it's going to be ugly. They're not going to forgive him for a long time to come. I believe it was a good, honest racing incident, but man, when you wreck a guy who hadn't won a race in 70-some races, it'll be a long time for somebody to explain that one.
You didn't just wreck a guy. It was Dale Earnhardt. And you saw fans shaking their fist.
They're shaking their fist. But this is the kind of racing that you see here, and what we really expected tonight. We just didn't expect it with these 2 guys.
All right, so what is Kyle's mindset here as we get ready for the restart?
You're in trouble right now, Clint Bowyer. That's all I can say. He is cocked, locked, and ready to rock. He's going to be coming after him pretty hard, and I would not be surprised if these 2 guys do not get together again. Hello, Mark Martin. He may wind up winning this race.
A guy with plenty of experience.
But how much trouble is Clint Bowyer in? We've said all weekend that the Childress cars would be strong here. We're going into the 2 laps of overdrive, green, white, checker. Bowyer's been good. All the Childress cars have been pretty good.
It's all on this restart right here. How he gets a restart, how he gets off the line. You got to get off the line. And he's right there with him as Tommy 18 is. Mark Martin right there anticipated that start, laid back a little bit. He's got a good look at this thing.
Yeah, the guy that did not get a good restart was Tony Stewart back there. Bowyer gets a good run off turn 2 now. Mark Martin's all over the rear bumper of that 18 car. Mark Martin's going to pack it down into turn 3 and 4. They'll be side by side. White flag this time.
That's what Clint Bowyer needed to see. Woo. Kyle Busch occupied with Mark Martin for second.
Yeah, Bowyer's got it made now. I mean, this race with the Mark in the 18 car, he'll just drive off and leave them.
They're racing like crazy.
Well, they're side by side. One more time.
Like crazy behind you. Now,
this is it for the win. Clint Bowyer's going to take it to the bank, take it to BB&T, and cash the check. He wins in Richmond.
Kyle Busch just edged Mark Martin back to finish second. Looks like Tony Stewart 4th and Martin Truex Jr. 5th.
The last guy that had a lot of trouble getting out of Richmond, I think his name was Grant, wasn't it? That may be as bad as this one here.
Yeah, we knew it all day, didn't we?
In his 83rd start, Clint Bowyer scores his second Sprint Cup Series win. And it's the second win for Richard Childress Racing in 2008. Jeff Burton victorious at Bristol. Clint Boyer's dad up on a roof spotting. What a night. Denny Hamlin leads over 380 laps, can't win it. Dale Jr. gets the lead in the closing laps, can't win it. Clint Bowyer comes through. Congratulations, Team Chevy driver Clint Bowyer, on winning at Richmond from Chevy. American Revolution.
Great race for second place here, but Mark Martin did a great job all night long. Had a fast car. Gives Kyle a lot of room here. Kyle's good off the top here, off of turn 4.
Because the last time off turn 4, Kyle got real loose.
Real loose, but I think he really timed it right that time.
Controversy. Oh, a bent bumper or two. Surprise winner at Short Track Saturday night.